You know, Alex, I walked into the shop this morning and the thermometer was already nudging 85. My glue is drying before I can even get the clamps on, and the humidity has my cast iron tables sweating like they're at a high school dance. Summer is definitely leaning on the door.
Well, at least you have an excuse for the sweaty brow now. I thought that was just the stress of those dovetails you were fighting yesterday. Speaking of heat, did I see you scrolling through pictures of a battery-powered cooler this morning? Is that where we are now?
Listen, don't look at me like I've gone soft. DeWalt just dropped this 20V cooler, and I'm telling you, it's a revelation. I spent 2 decades eating ham sandwiches that had been swimming in lukewarm meltwater by noon. The idea of a steak staying actually frozen in the back of a truck without needing a bag of ice every 4 hours, it's enough to make a grown man weep. It's not just a luxury, it's about not getting food poisoning on a job site in July.
Okay, fair point. No one likes a soggy sandwich. But let's talk about the real tool nerdery happening. Festool is going fully wireless by 2026. I thought their whole brand was being tethered to those giant green vacuum cleaners.
It's a bold move. They're trying to cut the umbilical cord. For years, the Festool tax meant you were paying for this perfectly integrated system of hoses and wires. Now they're betting on the fact that we're all tired of tripping over cords. But the real earthquake, the one that actually made me put my coffee down, is this Craig Edge.
The domino killer, as the internet is already screaming?
People love a good David and Goliath story. For the folks listening who haven't spent 3 grand on a specialized German joinery tool, the Festool Domino is basically a handheld machine that cuts perfect slots for loose tenons. It's fast, it's precise, and it's expensive enough to require a second mortgage. Now Craig comes along with the Edge, a cordless version that doesn't cost as much as a used sedan.
So, is it actually better, or is it just cheaper? You're a bit of a tool snob, Tiger. I know you.
I prefer the term curated enthusiast. Look, the Edge is going to democratize high-end furniture builds. It's like when everyone transitioned from hand-driving screws to using impact drivers. It changes the speed of the game. If it can hold a tolerance and not vibrate your teeth loose, it's going to be in every hobbyist's garage by Christmas.
Changing gears a bit. It's not all about the shiny new toys. You were showing me that article about HVAC distributors earlier. It sounded a bit corporate for a guy who likes sawdust.
It's the boring stuff that actually keeps the lights on, Alex. In the trades, we always talk about who has the best welds or the cleanest pipe runs, but nobody talks about the guy who sells you the pipe. ACHR News just put out their best distributor list for 2026, and the takeaway was huge. It's about culture.
Culture at a warehouse? Isn't it just here's your part, give me your money?
Used to be. But now, the successful shops are partnering with distributors who actually act like a business coach. If you're a shop owner and your supplier is just a vending machine, you're losing. You want a partner who knows your crew's names and helps you navigate supply chain nightmares. It's about building an ecosystem, not just a transaction. And speaking of growth, the Women in HVACR conference is hitting Indy in September.
Built for speed, right? I love that theme. It feels like the industry is finally realizing that the old boys club is standing in the way of actual progress and talent.
Precisely. If you're in climate control technology and you aren't looking at that conference, you're missing the smartest room in the building. The trades are evolving into a high-tech, high-speed career path, and the old stereotypes are finally heading for the scrap bin.
Okay, so we've got the pros covered. But what about the maker moguls? The people trying to turn their garage hobby into a mortgage payment?
Don't tell my old school woodworking buddies, but the money right now is in tufted rugs and resin.
I knew it. You're trading in your table saw for a tufting gun?
Not quite yet. But look at the data. Shopify is highlighting 35 high-profit niches, and sensory home decor is massive. People want textures. They want something that feels human in a world that's becoming very digital and flat. But the real trick in 2026 isn't what you make, it's how you show the mess.
The messy middle, you've mentioned that before.
People are tired of the polished, perfect final reveal photos. They've seen them a million times. To sell on Instagram now, you need that product tagging in your reels? Sure. But you need to show the moment where the resin spilled or the rug yarn got tangled. That's where the trust is built. Authenticity is the only currency that hasn't devalued lately.
So, less look at this perfect thing I made and more look at how I struggled to make this for you.
Exactly. It's the difference between a big box store and a craftsman. One has a barcode, the other has a story.
Let's get practical for a second. Some of us have a pile of scrap wood staring us down in about 4 hours on a Sunday afternoon. What are we building?
If you want to feel like a wizard with almost zero effort, build a spline frame. Take all those little offcuts, walnut, maple, cherry, and use them to reinforce the corners of a simple picture frame. It takes a boring miter joint and makes it look like you spent a week on it. It's like putting a tuxedo on a sandwich.
A tuxedo on a sandwich. Vivid. What else?
Poker tables are having a moment. People are craving face-to-face time again. It's a great project because it teaches you basic cabinetry and then forces you to learn a little upholstery. It's a multidisciplinary win.
And for the true beginners, the I just bought my first drill crowd?
Floating shelves. 3 ways. You can go with the hidden bracket style if you want that magic gravity-defying look. Use a French cleat if you want to be able to move them around. Or build a torsion box if you want them to hold an entire library. It's the ultimate high-impact, low-stress project.
Low stress? I remember your first set of floating shelves. Didn't they end up floating on the floor about 20 minutes after you loaded them with books?
I was waiting for that. Yes, I learned the hard way that drywall anchors are not a substitute for finding a stud. I essentially performed a very expensive stress test on my flooring, but hey, that's why we do this, right? Every failure is just a very loud, dusty lesson.
Well, we've covered a lot today, from high-tech coolers to the soul of the trades. What's the big takeaway for the TigerDen family this week?
I think it's this. The tools are getting smarter and the markets are getting faster, but the core of what we do hasn't changed. Whether you're using a $500 Craig Edge or a $5 handsaw, the goal is to leave something behind that's better than what you started with. Don't be afraid to screw up a piece of wood, and don't be afraid to show the world that you're still learning.
Stay curious, stay dusty.
You said it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a battery-powered cooler to test out. I think there's a cold soda in there with my name on it.